Just another day on the job. I'm needed for backup at a possible burglary. Most of these turn out to be false alarms from residential security systems. The owners get distracted and don't punch in the codes correctly before the police are notified. The squawk indicates this one might have some substance. A bedroom light went dark. Not likely that happens on its own. I did a once around the neighborhood to see if I could spot any suspicious cars. My name is Ian Reveler. I'm a patrol officer for the Ost Police Department. I'm married and have 2 teenage daughters. Those young ones have always kept me busy as I've coached them in basketball, softball, and tennis. It isn't like I know much about any of those sports, but nobody else was raising their hand. My wife helps by doing the paperwork, running the fundraising needed to make these teams successful, and ordering the uniforms. My wife and I have similar backgrounds. We were both raised in broken homes. We had long heart-to-heart talks about fidelity before we married. We don't tolerate any indiscretion by anyone we know. On a few occasions, we've sounded the alarm as soon as we knew the line had been crossed. My radio chirped I've apprehended 2 lovebirds. They were having sex and they claimed to have permission to be in the house, yet are completely unaware of the security system. I am letting them get dressed and will be out shortly. Sometimes teenagers let their hormones cloud reality. A small crowd is starting to form. Probably the most exciting thing this neighborhood has seen in quite a while. In the crowd I spotted an umpire I knew. "Hey Blue, what are you doing here?" Blue is the generic name given to anyone who umps a softball or baseball game. The umpires wear blue shirts. I was referring to Carson, who has been one of the Blues for our softball league for years. He's gotten to know just about every officer that plays the game. I've coached his daughter, Cassie, since she was in T-ball. Her mom, Nicole, is always helpful on game days. I can honestly state that Cassie could easily coach the softball team she plays on. She's one of the smartest and most level-headed people I've ever met. And she just turned 14. "Hey Ian, I live around the corner." We saw the flashing lights. That's Ed Sticker's place. We water his plants and feed his cat when he travels. He's probably at the bar tonight. Ed owns the Beer with Head Bar and Grill. We stopped there after games and knocked down a few pitchers. He's been single as long as I can remember. Thinking back on a conversation I had with him a few weeks back, I'm no longer surprised we are here. "Ian, I can't quite put a finger on it, but I think someone might be in my house when I'm working. Sometimes I think a chair, or the remote, or a light is different than I remember. Any activity in the neighborhood?" "Ed, I'll check, but none that I can think of." "Have you looked into a surveillance system?" "Yeah, I have. I can't afford the complete systems. Maybe I'll just get the doors and windows package." Putting it together, I think he installed something. "Cassie, how are you? Ready for the season to get started?" "You bet, coach. I've already set out my glove and bat." "Have you seen my mom? She should be back from Starbucks by now." "What's all the excitement about?" "Have not seen your mom. Some lovebirds broke in and got caught." The perp walk had started. Wearing their cute little bracelets, the pair was marched out the front door. I was wrong. These are older people, not the teenagers I was expecting. Nicole. One word, and then another word, 15 minutes apart, have turned my world upside down. I am too stupid to live. I had no reason to do what I've been doing, none, zip, zilch, nada. It was exciting. I hate to think about what's going to happen to me and my family. I run a small daycare out of my home, 6 children from 4 families. I've been married for 16 years to Carson. He's one of the most gentle, sweetest men you could ever meet. I have 2 girls, Cassie who's 14, and Ginger who's 12. We live a quiet, comfortable life. Carson and I have evolved into a sex twice a week marriage. It's loving but not the lusty sex we had when we were first married. I'm not complaining, but that's what makes what I did so stupid. For as long as I can remember, on Sunday nights, after dinner, I would walk to Starbucks. It takes about 45 minutes, round trip, to bring back drinks for my family. The seeds of my destruction were innocent enough. I was in line with Paul, the father of one of the 2-year-olds I watch. We chatted until our orders were ready. A late afternoon storm opened the skies, so I accepted an offer to get a ride home from Paul. As he was attempting to buckle, the top of his coffee popped off and he spilled the hot liquid down his front. I grabbed some napkins, while he was cussing, and tried to soak up the coffee. I found that he had a hard cock. I pulled back. Did I cause that? Oh God, I'm so embarrassed. You are so cute and have the sexiest voice. I'm so sorry. Oh Paul, don't be. I'm flattered. Paul dropped me off in front of my house. I was aroused. How can something so childish do that to you? Paul was strictly business while dropping off and picking up, his child following our little encounter. I should have put an end to it the following Sunday. Paul stepped into line, just behind me, at Starbucks. Can I give you a ride home? Sure. Try not to spill your coffee this time. We made small talk until I did something I will always regret. I see I still excite you reaching over and rubbing his hard cock through his pants. Kind of hard for me to deny it, isn't it? I opened the door to get out of the car. You can't leave me like this. Yes I can. See you tomorrow. Carson got a hot romp that night. I can't believe what I did. When Paul picked up his child on Friday, I said see you Sunday. Paul did not disappoint. After we had our orders, I crawled into his car and told him to drive to the park. He found an isolated spot. I rubbed his cock, through his pants, then unzipped him. I was fumbling with his belt so he undid it. I put my hand inside his shorts and rubbed his cock. I grabbed a napkin and covered the head of his cock. His breathing got short and he soaked the napkin. We would repeat that the next 2 Sundays. I had him drop me off by Ed Stickler's house. Next week, pick up my Starbucks order and come inside here. I'll leave the door open. I walked the short distance back to my house. The next Sunday I waited, by the door, for Paul to arrive. Once inside we stripped quickly to have a great love-making session with a great workout of few hours. Paul left, while I cleaned myself, then I locked up. The next Friday, Paul told me it was over. He was too guilt-ridden to continue. I wasn't quite that smart. Within a few weeks I was meeting another one of my daycare fathers. Ben and I had sex 3 times before the guilt got to him. Not me. I was flirting hard with Jay, another of my daycare fathers. You are sure frisky today, Nicole. I should take you out and show you a good time. Yeah, you're all talk and no cock. Well, that got the ball rolling. We met once or twice a month for a total of 6 times, without any problems. Then things changed. We had just started fucking when the first word stopped us cold. Freeze. The lights came on and we followed the officer's instructions. We explained why we were there. The officer cuffed Jay to the door while I got dressed, then cuffed me to the door while Jay got dressed. Once we were dressed we were cuffed, behind our backs, and marched down the stairs and out the front door. The second word to seal my fate? Ian. What the hell? I turned to see Cassie, with her mouth wide open, staring at the lady, who was desperately trying to hide her face. I glanced over and my stomach cramped. The color had left Carson's face. You could see the heartache in his eyes. He turned and was slowly shuffling back towards his house. Someone with better hearing than me would probably hear the pieces of his heart shattering as they hit the sidewalk. That's your mom, Cassie? Yeah, she went out to get Starbucks for everybody. She does that every Sunday night. It's about a 20-minute walk each way. The arresting office picked up on the chat. I saw the Starbucks cups. The guy said the lady had him pick it up. So my mom is a pay-to-play kind of lady? Not exactly a high-priced hooker, is she? Cassie, let's wait and see before we brand her with a scarlet letter. I loaded the mail intruder into my car and headed for the station. I mulled over Cassie's very insightful remark. I might be able to exact a little revenge for Carson. The shattered look on his face was still fresh in my mind. The investigator, Frank, was on my co-ed softball team. I explained who the lady intruder was in Cassie's remark. Ian, with that little tidbit, I think she'll be naming names pretty quickly. Frank spoke with the male intruder first. Lots of animated talking and shaking his head no. Frank was making him squirm. After Frank left, I entered the interview room. I checked his chart. Jay, do you think your wife would want to know if you were screwing another man's wife? I don't know. Did you want to call your wife or should I? When you talk to her, if you don't tell her the truth, I can tell you that you will wish you had moved away. Please, can it wait? No, it can't. You can screw another man's wife, but are afraid to talk with your wife? I looked at his chart and punched his wife's cell phone number, then hit send. Hello, my name is Officer Reveler with the Ost Police Department. Your husband has something to tell you, and it will likely be painful for you. You should sit. I am putting him on the line. It's your wife. Hi, I'm being held at the police station. I'm under arrest for breaking and entering. They are considering filing solicitation of prostitution charges. I was caught naked with a woman. She hung up. Oh God, I've really fucked things up. He buried his head in his hands and was sobbing. Asshole's life is probably headed for some rocky shores. Frank spent much longer with Nicole. Ian, you know the DA would never pursue those charges based on picking up coffee. But these two are scared shitless, and I've got all sorts of info to share with you after you discharge them. I got the update after filing my report. Under the guise of picking up Starbucks, Nicole would enter Ed's house and let her lover, who had bought the Starbucks, into the house. After a relatively quick frolic, she would take the Starbucks home. Under pressure to identify other lovers, who could back up her story about not charging for sex, she provided 2 more names and approximate dates. Nicole had to call her sister to pick her up as Carson wasn't answering his phone. I did a welfare check on Carson. Hey Blue. Tough night. I've got some information when you feel you can handle it. Come on in, Ian. My head is spinning. I've probably had a little too much to drink. Understandably. What do you think you're going to do? The girls are almost old enough to take care of themselves. I know I have to divorce her. I can't live in a house without trust. I don't want to leave my girls. Well, if you let me help, I may be able to get Nicole to agree to award custody to you. How? The courts always favor the mother. Like I said, I may be able to convince her to relinquish control to you. If I can't, She gets the girls anyway. The less you know, the better. Deal? We shook hands. The following day I pulled Nicole over on a speeding violation. She wouldn't make eye contact. "Nicole, please step out of the car. Leave your phone on the seat." We walked to the side of my car. I shut off my body cam. "You've destroyed a man with a heart of gold. Now you are going to do the right thing. I know you've been doing your fuck sessions, over the last year, with at least 3 different men. There is still some question as to whether you were acting like a prostitute. What do you think would happen to your daycare business if your mothers knew you were charging their husbands for sex? Do you think you could keep your license if prostitution charges were filed? Ian, it's not like that. It looks bad, but I wasn't getting paid. Your father's the deacon at the church. I think he's living his dream. Do you think it would kill him to find out about you and your whore activities? Do you think they would have him step down? Ian, you wouldn't. Please, you're scaring me. What do you want? If the local news stations picked up on this story, you would have your 15 minutes of fame. It would be infamous, but fame nonetheless. It has all the ingredients to be on the news every day for a week. Sex, Starbucks, cheating, multiple men. How do you think every high school boy will see your daughters? I'll tell you, they will assume that they are the same sluts their mother is. Your daughters would always be looking over their shoulders, wondering if some pervert was going to attack them. We already know what kind of wife you are. What kind of mother are you? When Carson files for divorce, he's asking for full custody. You are going to accept that? No way. I would never give up my girls. Your choice. The heaven you find is the heaven you make. Let me find the number for Channel 4. Wait. Can't I have some time to think about it? Not really. You didn't stop to think about Carson and what this would do to him or your daughters. Time is up. Do I start making calls? Tears were dripping off of Nicole's chin. Would I get to spend time with my girls? I suggest you talk with Carson. If I find out you've reneged on our agreement, I won't hesitate to bury you. I walked Nicole back to her car door and turned on my body cam. I'm not going to ticket you this time. Try to watch those speed limit signs. Carson and Nicole did get divorced and Carson got full custody. Nicole rented a house, moved, and continued her daycare business. Her other 2 male companions were pulled over for speeding violations and ended up talking with their wives. For marriages damaged with the help of one woman. Once Carson was divorced, many of the single softball ladies were busy trying to reel him in. A betting man would lay odds that he scores soon. I drive by Nicole's house every week, about drop-off time, just to let her know I'm still out here. What could have got better for this story? Comment down below in the comments. Also share your feedback in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that we stay motivated. Go ahead and listen to the next story, which has the perfect ending added to it.